At UFC London last night, 4 fighters were awarded Performance of the Night bonuses. Each fighter will be walking away with an extra $50,000. Sean Brady secured his bonus with a 4th-round guillotine submission victory over Leon Edwards. Alexia Tainar earned recognition for her first-round rear naked choke submission win against Molly McCann. Shauna Bannon claimed her bonus after submitting Pooja Tomar via armbar in the 2nd round. And Kevin Holland was awarded for his unanimous decision victory over Gunnar Nelson. Following his 4th-round submission win over Leon Edwards, Sean Brady says he wants to be the welterweight champion by the end of 2025. The current champ, Ilal Muhammad, is fighting Jack Della Maddalena at UFC 315 next month. Sean says he's open to fighting either of them.
Guillotines are one of my favorite submissions. Like I said, I did a grappling match with Boogeyman a month or 2 ago, and I hit him with that, and he's the coolest dude in the world, but it's one of my go-to submissions. I love jiu-jitsu. I would love it if the UFC got me on one of these Fight Pass invitationals so I could compete and show that I belong, even with the best, outside of MMA, the best jiu-jitsu guys in the world. So hopefully whoever runs that sees this tonight and might let me slide in there. But yeah, I'm good. I have a great jiu-jitsu team at Movement Art Jiu-Jitsu, and yeah, we're always just working to get better. There's someone fighting for that belt already. Jack Della's fighting for that. Jack's not going to get hurt. It's interesting either way. Bilal gave me my first loss, right? And then me and Jack were actually supposed to fight. I had to pull out because I had a staph infection. Then it turns out Jack fights Gilbert, gets a horrible staph infection, and is out for almost a year. So there's stories either way. But those guys are gonna fight, and then whether the UFC wants me to fight somebody else before then, that's okay. And if not, if they want me to fight until later this year, and I'll fight for the belt and I'll revenge my loss against Bilal, or I'll get some revenge on Jack for saying I crapped my pants when I pulled out with my staph infection. So yeah, we got storylines either way. Looking back, I haven't looked back on it yet. I definitely will. Like yesterday after the weigh-ins, like they were playing the UFC Journey, and I don't watch that stuff before my fights, but I was about to cry, and I'm like, I gotta hold it back. So when I get some time by myself, I'll definitely let out some tears because it has been crazy. My wife has definitely had some hard nights. I've heard my baby crying, waking up with her, and she's letting me sleep so I can train. And yeah, it was hard. I'm not gonna lie and say it was easy. I have a text message to my manager, Lloyd. He can show it to us. The day we had her, I said the best thing, I was like, I'm so happy we didn't get that fight in London because there's no way I could leave my baby girl. And on Tuesday, he called me and said, we got to fight in London. Whether I'm fighting for the belt or the guy who's fighting next to the belt, that's what I'm hoping for. I want to be champion by the end of 2025, and I think that's really possible right now.
After suffering a 1st-round submission loss to Alexia Tainar last night, Molly McCann retired from MMA. After UFC London, Molly posted this video to her Instagram story.
I'll get back to everyone in the next few days. Heads high, I'm happy. Had a great career. To everyone sending the love. Honestly, I'll get back to you soon, but what a ride. Thank you very, very much. Off to the departed disco I go for a little boogie.
After Carlos Ulberg defeated Jan Blachowicz via unanimous decision last night, UFC light heavyweight champion Magomed Ankalaev recommended he fight Jiri Prochazka next. Ankalaev wrote, "Congratulations, Carlos." He followed up with Carlos versus Fake Ninja. At the UFC London post-fight press conference, Ulberg says he'd be open to fighting Jiri in the future. He says he wants to fight whoever will move him closer to a title shot.
Do you feel that win really announces you at the very top of the division and top of the sport now?
For sure, yes. And if you look at guys like the current champion and the former champion, their last fight with Jan Blachowicz was a very close fight as well, and I beat him with a unanimous decision, UD, so it's a very good feat for me.
Final one, Pereira Ankalaev rematch, if that's next, who do you see coming out on top of that?
I'm not too sure. I haven't even seen the fight yet, but I'll go back and I'll watch the fight too, and then we'll see where that places me to.
Jiri Prochazka mentioned he was interested in the winner of your fight next if you weren't going to get a title shot. And how do you feel you'd match up with him?
Yeah, for sure. I'll get anyone, but I mean, where is he placed at the moment? I'm looking to go forward for sure, and I'm definitely looking at a title shot in the near future.
Colby Covington and Tim Welch discussed their predictions for Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. The fight is not yet official. However, after Dricus successfully defended his middleweight title against Sean Strickland, Dana White hinted that Khamzat will be next in line. Both Colby and Tim explain why they see Dricus winning the fight. Check out Colby's full appearance on Tim's YouTube channel. Links in the description.
Now, Khamzat DDP, who do you think wins that bout?
I think DDP gets it done. I think his unorthodox style will surprise him. Hopefully, I think he's strong enough to fend off the takedowns, and Khamzat's never been in a 5-round fight, so, I think Khamzat, I think Khamzat gets beaten up.
Yeah, that's one thing you got a lot of experience in, is going 5 rounds. And people don't realize how much of a tactical difference it is pacing yourself for 5 rounds. And if Khamzat comes out there the way he does, pedal to the metal, and DDP weathers the storm for the first 2 rounds, I think DDP might take over.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, DDP's strong enough to fend off the takedowns, or maybe he gets taken down, but he has good jiu-jitsu, so he keeps his chin tucked and he gets back to his feet, and then Khamzat's going to be tired. Khamzat gassed in that Gilbert Burns fight, and and that was only 3 rounds, so an extra 2 rounds, championship rounds, I think DDP gets Khamzat out of there.
Diego Lopes posted some intense training footage ahead of his featherweight title fight against Alexander Volkanovski next month at UFC 314. Rampage Jackson and Robbie Lawler discussed the differences between their era and today's era of MMA fighters. They both believe that back in their era, there was more real fighters. Go check out Robbie Lawler's full appearance on the Jackson podcast this week. Links in the description.
Back in the day, I feel like in his era and my era, we was more like real fighters. And no disrespect to anybody, because I respect all my comrades, but a lot of the new fighters, I said this before, they grew up as fans of the UFC.
Yeah.
You wasn't really watching it that much.
No, I wouldn't watch it very much, especially once I got into it. I'd watch all the Pride shows, because to me that was like real fighting. That was freaking brutal. It was a freaking show. I would have watched a lot of boxing, but it was just, I lived it every day. So I was just kind of like doing my thing. And a lot of times if you dive in too deep all the time, you might get burnt out. So I just go in there, train, watch other sports, play video games. And
at UFC London last night, Kevin Holland defeated Gunnar Nelson via unanimous decision. At the post-fight press conference, Kevin discussed whether or not he will continue to fight at welterweight. He went on to say, "The amount of money I make these days, I could definitely slow down. But the amount of money I spend these days, I stay active. If it's at 170 pounds, then let's be smart, and I'll possibly do a couple of months down the road, then another one a couple of months down the road. If it's at 170 pounds, probably only get 2 more in this year, 3 at the most. If it's 185 pounds, I could fight every f***ing weekend." It's a huge difference. Fighting a guy like Gunnar, you can say a lot of things, but you can't say he can't grapple. You know what I mean? He can grapple pretty damn good. And if you're asking people online, they would probably say he's a better grappler than Reiner de Ritter. If he's a better grappler than RDR, then size does play a difference in the game. Kevin also posted this to his Instagram today. He wrote, "Real shit from the shitter. That win wasn't a knockout, so I better step correct next fight. For the loyal homies, we back. For the fans who be with the back and forth, trust me, I understand."
Real shit from the shitter. I just don't understand why I get early morning flights. Dumb.
Jiri Prochazka fired back at Magomed Ankalaev, calling him a fake ninja. As mentioned earlier, following Carlos Ulberg's unanimous decision victory over Jan Blachowicz, Magomed said Carlos versus fake ninja. Jiri believes Ankalaev's manager Ali Abdelaziz may be the one who posted that. He fired back saying, "Who wrote it? You or some your slave? Here you show to everyone who's fraud champion. Like I said, I want your head. If I have to go through someone else to hunt you, so let's go for that." Jon Jones is now a co-owner of Mike Perry's Dirty Boxing fight promotion. Last night they hosted an event where Yoel Romero boxed Roz Hilton. Yoel is 5'10" and currently 47 years old. Meanwhile, Hilton is 6'6" and 37 years old. Despite the large age gap and height difference, Yoel scored a TKO victory. Prior to the fights, while Jon Jones and Mike Perry were on stage, fans were chanting "F*** Tom Aspinall." Last night, Tom Aspinall attended UFC London, and when the camera panned to him, he mocked John Jones by holding up a duck. And that's going to wrap it up for the news. Thanks for watching. For daily MMA news and content, subscribe to Full Mount MMA and click the bell icon to be notified when we post videos. Here are the 3 top comments from last video. These comments are in reference to Leon Edwards losing to Sean Brady last night. The first one's from Eric J. It says, "Don't let him bully you, son." The second one's from Tire Docs 3788. It says, "Honestly, makes you wonder how Leon got as far as he did because of his style and mindset." And the final one's from Frank Gustafson. It says, "Bad for Leon. He's not coming back." Those were the 3 top comments from last video. If you want to be featured in the next one, all you have to do is comment down below. And if you missed yesterday's news, click the video on screen right now to get caught up.